Good morning, America, and welcome to the American Tradesman Show with my guest, Gerald Prevette from B&K. Good morning, Gerald.
Good morning.
Brian Prevette from Prevette Plumbing. Brian, good morning.
Good morning.
Danny from Doria's Mechanical Services. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We want to kind of welcome two Mexican Americans right here from Southwest Florida. Both business owners, born and raised. Juan, born and raised right there in Mockley. So I got to say, hats off to my men, because I got to say, me and Juan been together for a long time. So Juan from American Electrical.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, fellas. Listen, the disease is getting deeper and deeper on a daily basis, and some of the things we've talked about in the last 4 weeks, right, Gerald? I mean, air quality. I mean, not to say it, but it's a scary situation where, you know, some people wear a mask. We're not wearing a mask, Brian. You're not wearing one, are you?
Well, no, I'm growing a beard and I'm only breathing out.
Oh, well.
Where do you breathe in from?
I snorkel.
That's gonna be a scary one to understand. I told you guys never to give the guy any more Cadberries, ladies and gentlemen. We've been talking about Cadberries all right, Juan. Probably about 4 weeks. He's been waiting for the Cadberries.
I finally got to see what a Cadbury is.
Juan has seen the Cadberries. It's a funny thing that you've seen the Cadberries. That he just looked at me and goes, "Well, I know what those are. Those are eggs with cream in them."
Yeah, well, the little mini werewolves.
Oh my God, Danny, I got to bring you into the show because mini huevos. I mean, in some cases the show gets a little bit kind of Alex, right? A little bit whacked. It's a good thing it's not a live show, but regardless of it, Danny, I mean, from the standpoint, I mean, a lot of people are concerned right now about what air quality is, and I mean, from an air conditioning standpoint, over at your company, that's part of what's important right now, right?
Yeah, definitely. Right now, with everything that's going on, it's really important. It's important anyways, but it's really on top of everybody's mind right now.
And not to say it from Gerald, I mean, we've been talking for the last few weeks about air quality with, I mean, not to say it, I'm using ozone machines and some of the sprays that you guys clean up. I told you guys last week, my mother called me up and said, "Hey, I'm doing what YouTube told me to do to clean." That didn't sound right to me, right? Last week we were talking about how my mother just said to spray it all down and you just wipe it off, Anthony. You just wipe it right off, Anthony, and you're good. And I was like, "Ma, I would not take the understanding of YouTube to tell you how to clean the house." And she goes, "No, I watched the whole video twice." She said, "Twice, like that, twice." And I said, "Ma, I'm telling you right now, it's not the way you're supposed to do it." I said, "Just if you wipe it down, right, Gerald, what happens, where it goes?"
It depends on how you wipe it. I mean, sometimes, especially with any kind of virus or bacteria, air displacement is a big thing. So if you wipe it and displace air and it moves it, it may have hopped it right off the counter that you're wiping and right over to the spot that you've already wiped and done. Hopped?
I don't know if she's not out, but if she's up at like 3 a.m, if she'll watch those movies.
My mother?
Men wiping men.
My mother?
Men wiping down.
No, my mother's not. I mean, she's 3 o'clock in the morning. She's passed out. She may be. I got to say, sometimes.
On the info commercials.
Oh, ShamWow?
ShamWow?
Yeah, ShamWow.
ShamWow? You want me to get you a guy with a ShamWow? I see that's a big thing now, ShamWow.
I know.
I mean, it's because they run out of toilet paper, I think.
Oh, boy. Reusable, rewashable.
You run out of toilet paper, and now the problem is that you got to use the ShamWow. Good thing is you can wash them, right?
Yeah.
And if they are going to wipe down, what's the best rag to use? Microfiber.
That's a ShamWow cord, right? Well,
They're made out of a little different material.
I thought ShamWow was a fiber cord.
The best thing to use is if you have one of those shower brushes, the ones that are battery operated to spin, that thing will wipe it clean in a skinny minute. Whoop.
Now I'm confused. What are we wiping down now?
I know.
You talking about running out of toilet paper?
I just want to
Wait
find
a
out.
minute, I just seen a whole whirlpool going around.
Oh yeah.
Is that what I was going to wipe down with?
Are you talking about?
All right, let's get back to the show. All right. That got me back. You got me on that one, Gerald. Gerald, this morning I wanted to kind of touch base on the air quality over at B&K. I mean, we talked last week about, I mean, air quality, and off the air a little bit ago you were talking to Danny about, I mean, if you're in the home, right? I mean, and there's in the home, I mean, in a consistent basis of 10 hours, right? I mean, hypothetically, a family, I know right now tensions probably start to get high. I mean, Juan, I know, thank God you got to go to work. But
oh, yeah. I mean, I'm the lucky one in the household right now. I get to leave and go to work. And my wife is working from home right now with the kids. But, it just got me to thinking, too, is efficiency. How efficient is your AC working right now?
You
Doors
know,
open and windows open. And I mean, not to say it, you know that,
Kids
right?
running in and out.
Yeah, I can only say the air quality you're getting is air quality comes in when you open the doors, right?
Yep.
Open the windows. Next thing you know, you got a mess going on in the air, and that's what we were talking about: scrubbing bubbles and scrubbing
That's
air.
it, scrubbing bubbles.
What are you doing with them scrubbing bubbles over there?
We scrub the air.
Scrub the air. So you know he's got an air quality machine, Danny. I'm sure you understand from the ozone, right?
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, we use ozone generators, air scrubbers. We can use both of those to help eliminate anything that might be in the air. I'm sure that Danny has methods that he can do.
Yeah, there's things we can do inside the AC unit, UV lights, and put them in ultraviolet lights in the AC system.
And those are key right now because as air travels through your AC unit, this UV light will help to eliminate viruses and bacteria.
Yep, definitely works great.
Ultraviolet lights, I mean, are addable to any AC unit, correct?
Yep, definitely.
I mean, that's something you guys can do over there. I mean,
Yep.
at your company, right? I mean,
Yeah, we put those in almost every day.
What,
Especially
Danny,
even more now because of the virus going around.
I would see that. I mean,
Well, there's the studies on the COVID-19 is that it's airborne up to 3 hours now, the latest that I heard of it. So just think this, if it's in the airborne for 3 hours, it's going to be floating through the AC system. That's my thought.
You're right.
You know,
I mean,
it's going to
Yeah,
get sucked. It's going to get sucked into the return.
return pools.
Yep.
It's a very light, and it's going
So
to.
we've been doing everything we can to put ultraviolet lights in the system. So when it does get on the coil, it has a chance to kill it.
what's your phone number over there?
239-331-4465.
I mean, and you service all of Southwest Florida. I mean, how far out?
Lee and Collier.
Lee and Collier County. And I'm assuming you're going out to my man's town, Immokalee.
Yep, we definitely go out there.
So, I mean, you're homegrown out of Golden Gate Estates, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I've known your family forever out there. I mean, Doria's Landscaping, right?
Yeah, that's my Uncle Ray. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I got to say, I mean, you've been around this town long enough. I mean, we've all been around, right, Brian? Mm-hmm. Brian moved here about 6 weeks ago. I mean, Brian's been here as long as I have. I mean, in Coon's butt, right? We were next door neighbors for a long time. But, again, I wanted to touch base on the air quality. I mean, in air conditioning, they come hand in hand. And a lot of people nowadays are, what I find is that these are older systems, 10, 15 years old. And now we're talking about a 10, 15-year-old with a virus that's got, you say how many hours? 3 hours on air. What if it just sticks into the insulation of the vents and all that? Yeah. So one of the things that's going to stop this is it's going to have to be chemically treated in the house or the unit. And that's basically.
Yeah, we can come in and we have a fogging machine. And basically, we would fog the return. It's going to pass through the coils, pass into the plenum, then it's going to move through the ductwork, and basically you're putting an antimicrobial, an antiviral, and an antibacterial solution through all the ductwork. So this little fogging machine is going to produce a fine fog. It's going to run through all your ductwork, and it's going to, all that solution is going to touch anything and everything in that ductwork. And when it does, it's going to kill all the viruses and bacteria and any kind of microbials. And that's real beneficial because, a lot of people don't realize, but if you have a bad spot in your ductwork, a lot of times you can have just spots on your ductwork where you have microbial. You'll never see it anywhere else, but here it's growing mold spores because of the air that passes through there. And if you got a hole in it and don't realize it, and it's notorious in condo life because it's always tucked in the ceiling, in a drop ceiling somewhere, and it's just a little duct board. And if you ever have a hole in there, or maybe a contractor puts a hole, that spot is going to sweat, and when it does, it's going to produce a mold around that hole, and you'll never know it. Every time the air conditioner cuts on and cycles, it's blowing the mold spores off that spot to inside of your unit. And that's why having this done, the fogging done to your air duct system, is always going to be beneficial.
One of the things we were talking about off air, I mean, we talked about ultraviolet lights, and then I have an ultraviolet light. I'm in my own air conditioning units, and I know it's part of. It's not a final instant fix of all of it. A lot of people have ductwork that's probably over 10 years old.
Yep.
I mean, the reality of it. I mean, and a lot of times guys go up in the attic, plumbers, electricians, and we just start moving stuff out of the way, right?
Yep, loosen the connections, and everything starts leaking.
And a lot of times we talk about how mold can really, affect itself by just a break of ductwork in the attic, where the mold can become its own right around that break in the insulation, right?
Yep.
So it is important from an air conditioning standpoint. Some of the things you guys do is to actually go in and inspect the ductwork, as well as kind of, not to say it, but make sure there's no breaks in the lines, right?
Yeah, we'll, visually look at everything. We'll cut a couple access holes to kind of actually look inside the ductwork and go from there. Take some pictures, so we can show our clients and do the best we can to show them because they're not getting up in the attic.
Yeah,
you don't blame them to neither.
I got to say, that is a job. I mean, not to say it for a lot of us.
It's not an easy job.
I mean, we've all been there, right, Juan?
Oh, yeah.
But now we just push point. So,
You there.
Do you ever pressure test the existing units, like the duct system?
is this blower door inspection
The
basically?
blower door test that does checks Pascal's, the air changes in the home. There's still a lot of it that I don't really know about this personally myself, but that does help with the tighter the home is, the more efficient it can be. But the tighter you bring the home, you got to start bringing fresh air into the home, and
Yeah.
that also messes with the indoor air quality. You want to bring get dehumidifier and things like that.
So, I mean, that's kind of a good point right now. And talking about it, what you're saying, I mean, in my own home, I put isonine in the roof, right,
Yep.
or the ceiling.
So you should have fresh air coming into your home
From where?
from outside.
Yeah,
Not actually, I shouldn't say fresh air. It should
Make
be called
up air.
outside air. Yeah. Usually,
should
the
open the door?
best way to do that is get a dehumidifier that you can bring fresh air or outdoor air into it, and then pipe it into your existing ductwork system. Because when you have isonine, it could change, the integrity of the indoor quality in your
So we
home.
see them doing down in Royal Harbor a lot.
So when you have an airtight home, it's necessarily a bad thing. Am I understanding that?
Yes, it reduces
It
humidity.
is. I don't know if it's a bad thing, but you just have to do the right things to make it.
The humidity
Proper.
factor is what's
Yep.
going to create the problem. The moisture, what's
Yep.
going to create mold,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
which is the ambient temperature from outside, to keep the balance of the pressure in the house, right? To
Yep.
I mean, no makeup
It could be a disaster.
could be sweat.
Well, I know
Yep.
back in the day when I was a young man, about 18, I did test and balance, and it was all commercial. And even the large air handler units, we usually had to have anywhere from 10 to 20% outdoor air coming in to the large units.
Yep.
Otherwise, the buildings would get
Sweat.
sick.
Everything would sweat. I mean, not to say it. I mean, sometimes we talk to people. I've gone to remodels, and I say to people, if you look at the sweat on the windows, then the sweat is on the block wall, right? And most people don't recognize it, but I mean, we take out doors, you take out windows. When you do all that, you start to see the jams are all black and moldy, and everywhere where you can see a window jam, it's going to be black and moldy.
Well, the incorrect duct size will cause mold problems too. You got to make sure
Right.
your CFMs is correct, and there's a bunch of stuff that plays in a role of how the system operates.
Well, that brings me into the next question of all of it, and a lot of things that we talk about, Brian, and I've been in business for a long time, and Gerald and us, and we have to always make the audience understand who we are and what the company is about. And one of the things about companies that are licensed, insured, right, Brian? I mean, and I don't mean driver's license, and I don't mean car insurance, but I do mean license from the state to do, obviously, mechanical services,
yep.
right? You work for Bill Varian. I mean, for years, you know Bill Varian,
Yeah,
right?
he's a great guy.
I mean, Bill Varian and us been working forever with him, and he's a good guy. That's right. We do bring him up here a lot. I keep pushing on him to get on the show. But one of the things that, on the audience side is a lot of people do a lot of things on the side, right? And it's a killer for us because we're really, I mean, we have to charge a minimum service, right? And then we also have to have some kind of money to get to the job site. And a lot of people don't understand there's a service charge plus the rate to get to the job.
Just the cost of doing business alone too.
That's the cost of doing business, right, Juan?
Oh, yeah.
That's about a part of it. And on the audience side, they don't understand sometimes. Well, I got a guy down the street that can do it for $30 an hour, right? So one of the things you brought up right now is not only air quality, but also, I mean, sizing the system
Yep.
correctly to the home, and that's part of, I mean, a mechanical trade that you do.
Yep.
It's like flow of water, right, Brian? Or how big a pipe? I mean, you ain't gonna put a 3/4 for sewer tap, right?
You ain't getting much through that one.
You may get a turd. That may be just a 1. That's just a 1 on the
Hey, no
record
cat
of
3
ones.
there.
Yeah, no category. There's no 1 plus 2. But the reality is that it's just like any mechanical trade. As electricians and plumbers and air conditioning guys, we are understanding of the engineering part of it because we're the ones that end up doing it most
Yep.
of the time. But the reality is a lot of people will size a house and say square footage, right?
Yep, that is right.
And then
that is incorrect.
And that is the most incorrect way because it depends on everything that's there. Namely, what?
Well, we got to do a manual J for one, and
That's right.
When we do a manual J, there's a lot we take into account. We check. We want to look see what type of windows, the efficiency of the windows, how many windows, the size of the windows, the integrity of the insulation of the home, how much insulation's in the home. All this we put into a formula, and it gives us, basically a number to how many BTUs that home is required. And when we oversize the system, that is a really bad scenario because then you can have mold problems and things like that. Because you want the AC unit is your dehumidifier of your home. You want to size it correctly so it runs and dehumidifies your home. But if you oversize an AC unit, it will not run long enough, and it won't. You may get your house 65 degrees, but it's going to be a wet 65.
That's right.
And that's going to be a disaster.
Most of the time, you see that in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
So even if someone changes their unit 10, 15 years later, they should probably redo their heat load calcs.
Yep.
Because the windows change.
Different units back then. Those are old, R22 systems, and now everything's changed, and the efficiency of the systems have changed, and R22 doesn't cool. R22, I believe, was cooling better than the newer refrigerant.
And touching base back with that, Danny, when you were saying that the oversized unit gives you a wet 65 degrees,
Yep.
that in turn also is very bad for, when you breathe that in. Because
definitely.
the wetter the air is, when you breathe it in, the more susceptible you are to lung problems because too much moisture settling in your lungs. And people don't realize that. They say, well, it's a 5-ton unit. Hey, we can go for a 7.
Yep.
If you oversize it, it's the same thing.
You won't believe how many times people will say, just put a ton bigger. I'm like, I can't do that. I'm liability for that.
That's exactly correctly. And it will. It'll affect health issues as well. So,
Sinuses. I will say, if you oversize a unit, I've known people that say, I always wake up with phlegm, my nose is clogged up, and it's got to do with the
humidity.
Yes, exactly. And it could be, like you said, 65 degrees in their bedroom, and it's as wet as possible.
Remember the one in the Glades?
What's that?
There was a unit in the Glades, and
just sweats?
The AC would run it for 5 minutes and shut off, and the place would be freezing. And it would have actually the tile would have moisture on top, condensation, and
wow,
it was just way oversized. They changed it, and they just upped it 2.
People think bigger is always better. It's not always the case.
Well, I think it's always
in that, anyways.
Motion in the ocean. Brian goes, "What?
That's what
the
average
motion?"
guy says.
That is not what she said.
Hey, give me back my cat. Give me back my piece. Well, let's move on from the ocean. But listen, it's an understanding from the audience's understanding of what we're talking about is mold, obviously, right?
Yep.
And most people nowadays are probably, if there's so many people in the house, they're going to turn the air conditioning down to 60, right? I mean, the reality is I know that even in my own house, I'm down to 65, and these guys are turning the air conditioning on for the office even colder, right?
Yep.
So the reality is that, you want a reputable company. You want a company like Danny out. I mean, these guys are going to come out, size it according to the system that you really need for the house and never go over, right? And I mean, the understanding of insulation, because a lot of times I think when people do change outs, I don't think they ever really kind of make them so concerned about insulation. And it's really kind of, if you're going to buy a whole brand new system and you're not going to insulate the house, then that's kind of, a no-brainer, right? And that's how you're going to size according to the unit.
Yeah, well, another thing, too, it's not always the system, too, though. It could be the ductwork. The ductwork can be undersized, and you could have a 3-ton system on a 2-ton ductwork, and it could be, just as bad, because the ductwork will make the system sweat, too.
Really?
Undersized ductwork will make a system sweat.
Because it's struggling more to push the air.
It's like you're trying to breathe out of a straw.
Ah.
That's the duct system is the lungs of the air conditioning system.
Danny, give you this phone number over at, your company. Give them a call. What's the phone number over there?
239-331-4465.
Again, Doria's Mechanical Services.
Outcooling the competition.
Outcooling the competition, Brian. Brian,
I like that.
you like that? Mm-hmm. Don't fret.
Call Prevent.
What's the phone number, Brian?
239-596-5533.
Gerald, what's the number over there, BK?
It's going to be 239-398-9834.
Juan, what's the phone number at American Electrical Services?
239-353-4389.
The kind of service
That built America.
that built America. God
Trump.
bless America. Trump. 2020. Listen, again, we're on the show to talk about, I mean, not the virus, but what some of the things you guys are going to probably be breathing for the next 6 months, right? I mean, I walked into Walgreens today. Nobody had gloves on. Nobody had the mask on. So I was thinking to myself, why is Walgreens selling pharmacy that doesn't have gloves? And the guy goes, because I got to take them off every time. And then I go to the dry cleaners next door, and there's a big plastic window across, and it's taped on. And she's looking through the plastic, and I go, what are you going to do? Spit on you? I mean, I don't understand that. I mean, it has become a craze, I mean, on the sense of it. And it's made people kind of, I mean, I've been listening to everything around it, and it's made, I mean, a very bitch, I mean, a problem with, I mean, people scared for everything, right? I mean, families, schools.
I think it just brought the fear out on a lot of people in certain areas, and I think after all of this, we're all going to kind of look at things a little bit different.
Life has changed. There's no doubt about it. I mean, this is like kind of putting a stop on your life right now. And I'm hearing, I mean, even more than that, there's going to be a month at least before it's going to stop. So, I mean, everybody does have to, I mean, provide themselves with their distances and try to stay within your family, right? Because I know it's a good thing I got, you guys are my only family, man. I mean, it's a good thing. You coming home with me tonight, Brian?
Regulations, 6 inch.
Sorry,
6 feet.
can't get on that right, Anthony.
Go back to the motion of the ocean. Eh? Well, you know, again, out there in the audience, we talk a lot, I mean, about air quality the last few times on the radio on Saturdays, and it's an important part about, I mean, air quality. We talked last week really about water, also drinking water and RO systems. I mean, RO systems are something, the things that you guys doing over Prevette, right?
Oh, yeah.
And in the sense of all of it, I mean, you know, people are out in Golden Gate Estates and in Lehigh Acres and Cape Coral and some in North Fort Myers, even on well systems and septic tanks, I think, still. Mm-hmm. And it's an important understanding to obviously purify your water and make sure it is pure, because these are times when the dry season brings the wells down farther in the ground, right? And it drives the wells to dig deeper to get the water out, and some of the water deep down in there may not be as clean. And so some of the things that we talked about last week, Brian, was the RO system, right? Yeah. Besides the Cadburys, right?
Besides the Cadburys.
And if you're on a well system, I'll find the location, but you can take samples of your water to a local municipality.
The county will do that?
Yeah,
or the
and
city?
get your water tested just to make sure you don't have anything in it like, you know, E.
Well,
coli.
remember last week
especially
we
after
talked about
hurricanes.
those systems are so old.
Yeah.
Sometimes some people have them under the tend to have them under their same 10 years, and then they haven't even really kind of
Never
changed the
changed it.
And
cartridges.
then a big thing you need to remember also is to make sure you get a regular maintenance, because a lot of people don't realize you have that holding tank that holds the water. If you've ever lifted the lid and you don't have a regular service, it looks like the slick of a pond inside of there, and it's not good.
And I'll be the first to tell you, you know, I've been doing plumbing for a long time, but if you have like an outdoor system with a well, septic, you know, the whole 9 yards, have your water system done by a company that does it every day. You know, I would lean towards that versus a plumbing company, because the people that do it every day, they have all the parts. They
I
can
gotta
get,
tell
they
you,
can get it all
parts is a problem.
tested.
I mean, they break. I mean, very easily.
A lot of times you'll call a plumbing company. They don't. That's maybe 10% of what they do. So you're not going to get the proper service that you should. You should get as far as your well equipment.
Yeah, I gotta say, well equipment. I mean, out in Golden Gate Estates, as you guys know, I mean, it's important to have. I mean, in the sense of, I have an RO system on my home, and I mean, I have to, because I mean, when I had kids, women trying to washing hair and all that, the chemicals in there.
Listen, I have a guy that comes by once a month, maintains my well equipment.
Same here.
I mean, but you know what? I want my
You're
family
right.
to drink, you know, water that's safe. Even if you're just going to bathe with it, we use a lot of bottled water. But, you also want to make sure nothing has gone into the well. So
These are times right now out there in the audience and listening, is that we are concerned about, obviously, air quality, mold. If you have virus going through, anywhere and everywhere, and I was listening to some of the other day, I got kind of nervous. I went and washed my sneakers, but they say if you touch your shoes, it could be on there for 3 days, hypothetically. So there's so many war zones of, this could happen and you could die and everybody could die, but you don't really know who to believe where it could be at. But if it's on your shoes, you could take it off and bring it in your bedroom, and now it's in your curtains, and right?
Just so much to worry about. It's like you touch one thing and you and you're with gloves, and then you're touching something else. It's like, how do you properly wear gloves? You know,
You can.
I seen the guy the other day, and he was wearing those gloves, and I don't know how long they've been on his hand, but he was holding the sandwich, eating it, and I'm going, that just totally defeated it right there. He's just feeding the Corona right on in the pie hole.
Hey, but his hands are clean though.
Did he hold it up to you and go, "You want a bite?"
No, he didn't do that.
Well, in a sense of all of it, the air quality right now in your home is probably pretty stagnant, unless somebody just opens the windows and doors, right?
Yeah.
And it's been 90 degrees the last week or so. I mean, it's
it's
boiling.
getting hot now. So
Yeah, I know that people right now are running ACs. It's funny because we've been on the break with the rain, some sporadics in the last couple of days, rain, and so it's been cool at night, and then it warms right back up to 90 degrees. So those are breeding grounds for mold and, I mean, for this virus in your home. So when you go to the grocery store and the guy at the grocery store is touching the bags and he ain't wearing gloves, and you go to Walgreens and he ain't wearing gloves, then you bring it home to your home. And then we've talked about how it becomes airborne, right?
Yeah.
And that could be a problem for, I mean, months on end. I don't know how they could say that this could hit a peak. I mean, you don't know what a peak. I think the problem is going to be, or where it is being solved, as being, I mean, curable, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting a survival rate of 98%, right?
And another thing that, especially Danny can touch on is right now, most of us are used to everybody being gone during the middle of the day. Right now we're under stay-at-home order. So, I mean, you have an increased amount of people in the home right now during the day. So you have body heats that are going to cycle your air conditioner more often than what it did normally. And not only that, this is something that most people don't like to even think about. Most of your dust and things that occur from your, in your home are from skin dander, things like that. And
Pets.
Yep.
Pets
You
really
now
bad.
you have an increased amount of that because you went from having nobody home during the day. Now you may have 4 people home during the day. And, so this is all going to affect your AC unit, and you should probably have somebody come in and check it more often than you did before, because a lot of people only have it, once a quarter. How often do you usually do
Twice a
service?
year.
Twice a year.
Yep.
So
it brings us back to doing maintenances. routine
yeah.
maintenance.
So right now you're going to want an increased amount of maintenance because, I mean, you're going to have a lot more people in there, and you're going to have a lot more stuff in your air and a lot more stress on your AC unit than it normally did. Because, like I said, it's going to cycle a lot more times. You had 2 people in a room, now you've increased it by a considerable amount. You put 4 people in there, and this thing's going to work like crazy to make sure that it's going to stay cool.
Yeah,
I was
one-
just gonna hit on that. Sorry,
That's okay, go
Danny.
ahead.
I was gonna. You actually just beat me to the punch, Gerald. Because I was gonna say that and I touched on it earlier on the show, was efficiency. Your AC system right now is not running as efficient as Gerald said. You're putting more hours, more stress on that system, and as Danny said, you're supposed to maintenance your system twice a year, and I'm assuming that's on certain amount of hours, certain amount of people. There's a calculation for that, and during this time now that, we've had more bodies, more heat, more dandruff, more pets in the air, I think now's the time to get your system serviced, but also a pre and a post service. And what I'm saying by that is you can actually have your system cleansed, and sanitized with Gerald, with putting the ozone system, and then have some sort of UV light in your system as well, scrubbing your air after you had it treated with the ozone. So you can have a pre and a post here in your AC system when at this time that you need it the most.
Yeah. And another thing that Danny will test for this is your outside coil.
Yep, you definitely got to keep that clean because that could raise your electric bill. We want to try to keep your electric bill at a bare minimum as possible. So
The
we'll clean that.
landscapers do not care about your
Nope,
outside
they'll blow right
unit.
into your AC unit.
It's funny that you say that because, I mean, I've had arguments where, do you take the enclosure off? Do you
Yeah,
unbolt it?
we take the top off, blow from inside out.
There's a smart man, right? I mean, you don't blow in, out, and out, right in, right?
Yep.
That's a smart man. But, a lot of times, I mean, air conditioning is a very important part of, right now, what's going on. I mean, you're breathing whatever's coming out of that air conditioning unit.
Yep.
And what we're trying to get, through to people now is that if you give, Gerald a call, they can get you set up. We talked about this less than a couple hours, right?
Yeah, maximum 4 hours. You're gonna have 2 hours run time on the machines. We'll do, a little bit of setup time. It takes about an hour, maybe an hour and a half afterwards for the ozone and everything to deplete down enough to where it's safe to go back in. While we're doing the air treatment, we also have the chemical. We can do, wipe down and clean down of all your hard surfaces in there with the antibacterial, antimicrobial, antiviral, and to have your home properly sanitized. And wipe it the correct way, not the YouTube way.
YouTube? That's my mother, man. I mean, my mother'd YouTube everything if she had to. I'm going to the grocery store. YouTube it.
Hey, is there a preferred filter to use? Like, you'll see some that look pleated like construction filters.
Yeah, well, the
And then you'll see,
filters
like, paper.
filters can be kind of difficult because the better the filter, the harder it is on your AC system because it catches more dander.
strains it.
It strains the system. So there it goes back to ductwork. You got to make sure your ductwork is sized properly for to better filtration.
Yeah, you kind of answered your own question. I mean, part of that when your system is working twice as hard to try to suck it through there, it's going to have a lot of problems.
The thing I could say, a little tip, just check your air filters every month. To do like on the first of every month and just change it. If it's not that dirty, let it go to the next following month. But at least check your air filter every month. And if you guys need help with that, you can obviously call me too.
What's the phone number over there?
239-331-4465.
And again, what we're kind of, preaching to the choir, right, Gerald? I guess it's okay. We're preaching to the choir. But what we're trying to make the audience understand is that we have somebody that can come out and do scrub the bubbles and scrub the air, right?
Yeah.
And spray down anything in your home, and then also fog the air conditioning ductwork. Mm-hmm. Once that is done, you can bring in Danny, from Doria, and Danny can come in there and service the air conditioning ductwork and cleaners and clean the coils and do a whole PM.
Then we can keep that stuff from coming back with the ultraviolet light systems.
And
Because
then
once
put
the
the
lights
light
are
in.
in there, that'll keep at least the air handler, clean and keep that mold from coming back.
And it's a no-brainer. To say this again, you got the two best worlds right now from B&K and Doria, but they can both come in together and within a day, maintenance a home. Put in the UV light, fog it, right?
Yep.
The whole nine.
The whole nine.
Yep. And this will greatly improve your indoor air quality.
If the audience is listening, in less than 8 hours, you can have your home cleaned the right way, right, Brian?
Oh, yeah.
Not the YouTube way.
Not sweeping the dirt under the carpet.
Not sweeping the dirt.
And one another thing that we can do too, we'll pull the blower out, and we can, sometimes the fins on the blower will get packed with dust and whatever dander, and the fins will straighten out actually, and it'll mess up with the airflow up too.
And it gets
so
heavier.
We'll pull that out, and pull the wheel out and clean it outside and take it out and clean it properly for you guys.
It'll get heavier and put a bigger strain on your start capacitor too.
Yep.
Well, again, I go back to the audience. What's the phone number over there, Gerald?
239-398-9834.
And Danny over to Doria.
239-331-4465.
Danny, are you open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week?
24/7. Give us a call. We're
So 2 o'clock in the morning, you'd come out?
Yep. If I wake up, definitely call me. But that's why my fiance answers the phone. She'll wake up.
Is that like a nudge? Tell her one. In a couple of years, you'll be rolling over. She'll be pushing you out of the bed. She ain't getting up for that one.
That's I want a new pair of shoes. Go.
What'd you say, honey?
We run our business out of our home, so our phones are always on us. And if we don't answer, we'll definitely call you guys right back.
Well, the show is based, Brian, around small companies. When you say you work out of your home, we all live out in Golden Gate Estates and work out of our home. This is probably the only way I can say it's been the American way from my side. I've worked out of Golden Gate Estates for a long time, but, the reality of it is that the show is about small companies. Small subcontractors. We talk about licensing and insurance every week. And a lot of times when we talk about insurance and permanent, it's part of what we kind of have to, do, right, Brian? For a licensed state contractor in the state of Florida, we have to go through, continuous education. You have to go through,
Going through that right now.
Right. This is the time, right? So the reality is that you always have to stay up on codes and things that's going on new, right, Brian? And in an audience standpoint, and out in there, if you're listening, we try to keep you up with a lot of that, right? Most of this is about future of what we have going on, and one of the things Danny was talking about is preventive maintenance on your air conditioning. Gerald himself has said it. They can come in and clean your house. I've been told that if I clean my house, that it's over with, and then I find out that if it's on my shoes, then I just put it on the carpet again, and it's not going to solve the problem. So we're getting a solved problem right here on the American Tradesman Show with Gerald and Danny from Doria's. Those two can take within less than 8 hours, Dave. Is that it, Juan?
Yeah. I think if you reach out to Anthony, you reach out to Doria's or to Gerald there at B&K, they'll be able to schedule you accordingly. I work very closely with Brian at Privet, and when they do water heater installs, and we always coordinate with one another. Once they pull a water heater out, we're right in afterwards to do that electrical connection. For permitting purposes, because we have to do that, and I can imagine that these two guys will do this, follow the same procedure. Coordinate with you, work with you on what's going to be the best time, coordinate with each other, and then take care of you at the end of the day.
The American Tradesman Show is about small contractors and small subcontractors in town, in Southwest Florida. Let me get that straight. In Lee County and Charlotte County, right, Brian? You go anywhere, somebody pays you.
Yeah, anywhere in Florida.
Anywhere in Florida. I mean, I'm that same guy, right? I mean, I've gone all over the place in my time, so I can only say we take care of our customers, right? We watch our customers, we take care of our clients. But as the small subcontractors in town, this is what this radio show is about, small subcontractors. And at this point in time, a lot of times we give out shout-outs, right, Brian? The shout-outs are based on, some of the things that are out there, people are out there that, we want to give a shout-out a lot. Last past few weeks, it's been about nurses and not to say the doctors, the people that are on the front line right now dealing with this virus. And we kind of brought in Danny from Doria's Mechanical Service because he's an air conditioning expert, and he's, a homegrown guy, right, Juan? Right here from
homegrown.
Southwest Florida. And it's important to bring somebody not only homegrown, but also that understands their trade. A lot of times guys do say they understand their trade, but they don't really understand it. And Danny here is very, educated in his trade, and it's a small company that you guys can get a hold of very easily and get them to come out personally and see you. Right, Danny?
Yep, definitely. Give us a call, 239-331-4465.
What's that number over at American Electrical, Juan?
Give us a call at 239-353-4389.
And Brian, what's the phone number over there?
239-596-5533.
Don't fret.
Call Privet.
Jill, what's that phone number?
It's going to be 239-398-9834.
So earlier we were talking about air quality and mold and remediation, and during this time, a lot of times we take it right in a break, right around halfway point, Gerald.
Yep.
And we kind of give a shout out to people out there that we kind of recognize. And I each week I've always recognized, the first responders and the nurses right now, because, right, Brian, that's the most important. They're on the front line. I do feel bad for some of these people that are working 24. There's no break. And so it is a hard time for a lot of us. And, this is how America's pulling together, though, right? People are understanding. There is people out there on the road like ourselves. We are essential. Is that the word, Brian?
Essential.
Yeah.
Brian almost choked on the Cadbury one.
Oh, boy.
I was trying to think if it was decentral, but yeah, no.
It's essential, right, Danny? We are essential.
Yeah, we definitely are.
Yeah. Well, Gerald, who's your shout out this week for?
Okay, so my shout out this week is going to go to Steve Hayden at Reliable Claims Adjusting. Steve is a public adjuster, and this is much different than your regular insurance adjuster. In my line of work with mold remediation, I come into a lot of contact with homeowners that have to file a claim, and the insurance company just wants to give them chump change, and my portion may not even cover what they're getting from the insurance. And Steve can come in, and he's worked for an insurance company before. He knows it backwards and forwards, and he can actually help you go through the process and make sure that you're getting what you need out of your claim. Because, like I said, a lot of times people don't, get what they need out of their claim, and he's a public adjuster, so he works for the homeowner, not the insurance company.
You kind of touched on base. Myself, even during Irma, when the hurricane came through, it was like one guy came through and gave you half of whatever it was, right? And then I had to pull the contractor cord on him and do my own contracting estimate to send it into the insurance company. And, a lot of times, as a contractor, I can do that, but as a homeowner, you don't know. Private adjusters, are out there, right, Cheryl?
That's right.
And some people have to understand, there is people out there that can protect you. When you have a water leak behind a shower and they come out and say it's your fault, right? Most of the time, you're fighting insurance companies for everything. I mean, you look back at it some of the times. I mean, not only Irma, but I mean Andrew and some of these hurricanes. You had to fight for your money, right? So a public adjuster, no.
Yep.
Is it a public adjuster?
Yep, he's a public adjuster.
Is he local in Southwest Florida?
He is.
Well,
He's right here in Naples.
And what's his phone number? Do you know?
So you can give Steve a call. His number is going to be 239-777-0113. Like I said, if you have any kind of claims and you feel like you're not getting your money's worth, give him a call because Steve is excellent at what he does.
Those referrals coming from us at this, I mean, the American Tradesman show, sometimes I've heard that sometimes you don't hear the phone number, right, Juan?
Yeah.
Some people say I can't get the home phone number, so they call Fox Radio. But, you can always, email me at ac@theamericantrades.com. That's ac@theamericantrades.com. We are the American Tradesman. We are, part of what brings the American bone out, right? I mean, you just heard earlier, Juan himself, Danny and all of us are homegrown in the United States, right? And not to say it, but we care about America and God and things that go on in this country. So, I've watched over the last few weeks, and Juan, people are pulling together. I do see that.
Yeah, we're pulling together, and I see a lot of neighbors helping out each other, which is, it makes me happy to see that.
Well, people have to care about, in your heart, right, Danny? Think about that. That's part of it. To care about others. And, we talked about the shout-outs. That public adjuster is something. And, Danny, I know you've been a family home in this property, in this town for a long time. You got a shout-out today for somebody?
Yeah, I got a shout-out. My fiance, Tori.
Oh.
Yep.
Lonnie's
So
trying to
I wouldn't be able to do it without her. I give her a big shout-out. She answers the phones.
Brian, he's already...
Brian's nodding his head. Yep.
Brian knows...
You done set the bar.
You don't get Cadbury.
I wouldn't be able to do it without her. A lot of my clients, they've already talked to her. She answers the phones every day. She's scheduling us to go out to the calls. And not only that, it's really tough right now, especially now with the kids home. So not only she's answering the phone, she's taking care of the kids. So
I'm sure when you get off this radio show, she's probably going to go, here's the kids, right?
pretty much, yeah. She's like, well, she's get home quick.
But that, again, our wives have put up with a lot of stuff over the years, right, Brian? I can only say being married 32 years sometimes puts you through the ringer, right? I only say that just because I know where the ringer's at.
Yeah.
Juan, who's your shout out to?
I'm actually going to give a shout out to the 2020 seniors. This hits close to home for me. I've got a daughter that's a senior this year, and seeing the struggle that she's going through, having, her prom canceled, her grad bash canceled, all of the things that the seniors had looked forward to, and getting there and participating in, I've seen the tears, and I just want to give it to you guys. My heart is to you guys, stay strong, and, you will enjoy life after this. This is just a short period in life, and, and I'm praying and hoping to God that, you'll still be able to march down the stage in graduation.
Yeah, my youngest daughter's a senior too, and she's the same issue. The homecoming dance got canceled, and now it looks like the graduation walk's going to get canceled too, and she's not a happy camper.
I would like to say to all the seniors out there whose parents didn't have to spend a bunch of money on their graduation, make them give you some cash, right?
If you're not getting a party this year for your high school graduation, get your mom and dad to give you party money so that you can hold it when you get down to Cancun, right?
Right.
When the beaches open up in about 6 months, you can
That's
take
it.
down in the summer. See, Brian is really a smart man. He works his way backwards. He doesn't work his way forward. The reality is you're right. It's sad times for a lot of these graduations, not only high school, but even college. Brittany, Michelle's daughter, she's graduating law school, and she's got, I don't know how you really do it online. I got enough problems getting online, never mind to do some kind of class online, but they're graduating online and it's a hard time for all these kids. Because, this is what the whole thing is about, right, Brian? You get to a certain point in life and you want to graduate. Eventually you want to get married and have kids, right, Danny? Or you have kids. That's the point, right? And then when you have kids, then they grow up, right, Juan?
Oh, yeah.
And then as they grow up, they grow out. And I can only say when they grow out, then you got to figure it out with your wife. And a lot of times right now, this is a hard time for people, and the elderly. Especially if you do have elderly people that are living in your block around your town, one of the things we talk about over and over again is veterans, right? And a lot of times them veterans sit in the home and they don't come out of the house. Sometimes, I mean, sometimes it's 2-3 weeks. So if you do have a veteran living next door to you, I mean, please next door to make sure to drop off something to eat and make sure that you let them know that you are out there and that you care for them. I mean, a lot of people, it doesn't even have to be a veteran, are staying inside and they're scared. I mean, a lot of these people are older, not really realizing, what is outside. I mean, and it is a scary time for a lot of people, but the elderly are at risk for this a lot more than, a younger person. So, take air quality, right, Gerald? The importance of all of it is air quality, right, Danny?
Yep.
And when we go through the show, we talk about air quality and the water values and mold and remediation, but it's also about human life and to take care of your family.
And your neighbor. So, Juan, the thing I want to talk about today is we're coming up again, and I just harp on it, is what, Juan? Hurricane season's coming up, people.
It can be a virus, but it's hurricane season. So a lot of people don't prepare for hurricane season. And sadly enough, you find out when the water line breaks or, air conditioning breaks, it's right around summertime, right, Danny? Yeah, air conditionings break, water lines break when the water starts to come in and water breaks them in the ground. But generators is one of the things you guys are doing.
Yep, generator power is what we want to kind of something that we've been covering, the past couple of shows. And the reason why I'm kind of trying to drive this home to the audience is you don't want to be left last in line. And what I mean by that is we already seen what happened with the great 2020 toilet paper shortage. So, we know the trucks aren't moving that fast. So we want to make sure that you get what you need and be prepared for storm season. And that's right down the road. So I've already gotten multiple calls on generator installations, and I'm driving it home for you people to get ready, get prepared. We have gotten prepared for the coronavirus. We stocked up on the items that we need. Now let's go on to the next step, and that's hurricane season. We offer multiple levels. We can do a standby generator, a whole home standby generator, or we can do portable installs for you. If it's not there for you in a moment for a whole home standby generator, then let's at least try to achieve a portable. And a portable, we can get you power throughout your whole home. We can light up all your lights, light up all your receptacles, get your refrigerator going, depending on the size of your AC system, possibly your AC as well, with a portable. So, that says a lot there with a portable generator. So we can do interlock kits, get you started, get you a cord. If you choose, we can actually provide you a generator as well, portable generator, show you how to use it, install it for you. That way, you're set and ready for hurricane season. Then when the season comes in, if you need us to train you once more, we can come out and check your generator once more, get you prepared, and you'll be good to go.
One of the things you guys over at American Electrical, we're talking about generators, and I can't hound enough about this. People, are really kind of always, last minute, right?
Florida, that's Floridians for you.
It's last minute, right, Brian?
Yeah, are you guys still running that special? 48 rolls with every generator purchase? No?
2-ply.
Okay,
2-ply.
okay. That's 96.
Brian told me that what he does is he takes the 2-ply, makes it 1-ply,
Yep.
and flips it over. So, this is not about 2-ply or 1-ply, right, Juan? It's about generators.
It's about generators.
But the reality is about the generators is that people don't recognize, this virus is going to, obviously going to end. And when it does end, hypothetically, I don't want to be in a position where I got to deal with a hurricane right after that, right?
Exactly.
And then I say this because we are last minuters. We're always last minute on everything we do. I see this thing on Facebook post, and I've asked my husband 50 times, and yeah, right. Nobody listens to their husband, right? The husband just says, "Okay, I'll do it."
Oh yeah, I'll get it when I get it.
But even yourself, Juan, you went to we're going to a generator call, and they said, "Well, we're going to wait." Right?
Yeah, I got the call, so how I take care of all my clients, when I get the call, I'll schedule a time to go out. Because, of course, I want to see your home, see what the application is going to be like, talk to you in depth on what your needs are, and size the generator accordingly. And then, I would the very next day I got the call back, said, "Hey, we're going to hold off. We're just not going to do it at this moment," which is understandable. I understand that. But, at the very least, let me provide you with a proposal.
A free estimate.
Free estimate.
That's the part of all this that makes no sense, because right now, the reality of putting a generator in is at least 30 days. If somebody tells you anything differently, I know that going through the county permitting situation right now is at least 4 weeks behind. And you have to apply for it, but then also you have to get equipment here. And the way the truckers are driving, they're not bringing down generators, they're bringing down toilet paper, right, Brian? And hand sanitizer. So one of the things that's important to understand is that we're in April. The reality is that you're looking at June 1st right now to install generators. And I can't say it enough for the audience to understand that generators are going to come into play within the next 6 weeks. And you'll be in trouble if you don't have one.
And not even that, if we're going to be doing standbys, the second part of this that we have to take in consideration is the gas. The gas. That is where, there's a second person involved that we got to make sure that you get connected. It does you no good if we wait till last minute to get a generator installed without any gas being able to be installed.
Yeah, there's a system to all of it as a general contractor, right, Brian? There's always some kind of, you have to have some procedures to doing it. And people got to know that we get the survey. Once we've gotten a contract and a deposit, then we can go forward with the contract. A lot of times you send an estimate and the girl go, hey, well, you guys didn't start, right?
Yeah.
But there's a system in everything that we do at American Electrical and Contracting. And one of these procedures right now is that get prepared for the generator, because it's going to be here shortly, and you're going to need some. The lockout kits, we've talked for the last 3 weeks about lockout kits, right?
Yeah, we can do lockout kits, So if you're, this is for Golden Gate, this is for Cape Coral, this is for Lehigh Acres. Guys, remember, you're running off a well system. So if your power is out, you have no water, you have no septic. So you want at least to have some sort of backup power. That way you can live in your home with water and sewage.
Yeah, a lot of times Juan and I had this conversation about air conditioning being in a home. And a lot of times putting air conditioning on a generator is not big enough for that air conditioning, right?
Yep.
A lot of times I come over and the capacitor's already burnt out, and the guy went and put a little 6,000 watt generator on it and winged it out. So, a lot of times people don't understand with a portable generator, you've got to be very, very careful. It is very understanding that people think in the past that they could plug it into the water heater receptacle, right, Brian? And then they went to the range receptacle and plugged it in there and backfed it. And people are not understanding right now. We're in a drastic measure over a virus. You get in a real hurricane category 3 or 4 and hits the town, you're not prepared for it, you will be in trouble. I've been around here since Andrew, and I can tell you there was a bad situation in Miami when the Andrew hit.
Yeah.
So don't waste your time waiting for the hurricane to hit and procrastinating, I guess is the word. Make sure that you get a call over to American Electrical. What's that phone number?
Give us a call at 239-353-4389.
And you do have an email. If you have an email address, give them the email address.
Yeah, you can give us shoot us an email at frontdesk@americanelectricalservice.net. That's frontdesk@americanelectricalservice.net.
Be sure to ask for Juan and Shelby. They're there every day, all day, right, Juan?
Yeah, we're here. So I'm gonna say this: if you give us a call, if you're interested in the generator interlock system for a portable generator, if you mention that you heard us on the radio, a normal cost of $675, we're going to give it to you at $600. $600, guys, that's a savings of $75, but you have to mention that you heard me on the radio.
And not to say it, everybody hears his voice, right? I've been announced in the public shopping center. Is that you from the Fox Radio show?
Yeah.
So I could say you do become famous, Danny. You want to become famous, you can become famous right here with the American Tradesman. Right, fellas?
Yes, sir.
So the reality is, Danny, give him that phone number over to your company.
239-331-4465.
And Doria's Mechanical Services?
Yes, outcooling the competition.
Outcooling the competition. I like that, Brian. That's a quick one.
I like that.
It's better than your peeps over there.
I don't know.
That's two different fields.
One day I just got to see him eating the peeps because it's not going to be good.
One thing I would like to add, for any first responders, veterans, nurse aides, give us a call. We'll give you guys 15% discount on anything we do. UV light install. Normal UV light's at $450. We can do it for whatever 15% off of that is like $380 or something like that.
That's good.
That's, that's for a single bulb. You know, there's different options, so we can discuss that when time comes.
You know,
so
we
just
talked
give us
about
a
it.
call
That's a
when
good
you guys
thing.
if you guys want to talk about it.
What's the phone number again?
239-331-4465.
What's that tagline again?
Out cool in the competition.
I'm cool in the competition. And Brian, don't fret.
Call Prevent.
Gerald, call BK because these guys are going to make you a clean air and a clean house, right? Mm-hmm. And you want to talk a little bit about plumbing before we get off the air?
Yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about plumbing. We talk quite a bit about making sure you get the right contractors. I went to a plumbing call the other day. It's down in downtown Naples. They'd had a septic tank. It had been changed over to the city sewer. I don't know how long ago this had been done. It had been done quite a while. The whole house was backed up. Could not get it to free up, trying to figure out why. Cambered the line to locate it. Found the problematic area. Dug it up. So where they had turned the pipe away from the septic tank to go out to the city sewer, they had a couple of fittings on there, but they started from the tap out there in the alley for the city sewer and made their way back to that. And by the time they'd done that, their tap from the city sewer in the alley was 8 inches higher than the tap coming out of the house. Wow. So
Does that mean you got a lift station?
what this person did was they put a coupling on there, wedged a pipe sideways in the coupling, so it's not even fitted in the coupling good, and then put a couple of fittings on there to turn it down to go into this other pipe. And as we all know, the old saying about what runs downhill, it doesn't run uphill, and that's exactly what it had to do. So for I don't know how long, these solids are having to travel 8 inches uphill to make it into a pipe to be able to go back downhill. So I freed the line so it was flowing that night. They wanted an estimate to repair the problem. My suggestion to them was going to be a lift station put right there in the yard. And we sent them an estimate for the price. I guess they weren't comfortable with the price, which was actually a great price. So they'd had a previous plumber company out there a couple of years earlier, and this is a national company. And so the national company come back in after us and told them, no, you just need to add another clean out.
Wow. Another
So,
clean out?
Yeah, another
That's gonna
clean out.
solve the problem?
No, that's not going to solve the problem. That's going to give them easier access to free it up every couple of months when it starts to back up again. So, I mean, do your due diligence. I mean, when you call people, I mean, if somebody's telling you, and they seen the pipe going uphill, so they knew that there was a massive issue there, but, they wanted to listen to a nationally company that tells them just to put in another clean out.
So let me get this correct. They initially did the work. You came out and cleaned it out. They came back behind you and said it needs another clean out.
Well, no, what they did was they cleaned out the line 3 years prior.
Oh, okay.
So all they did was clear the line. The actual pipe that had been put in the ground was, I'm guessing, probably 15 years old, and who knows who done that.
I can only say a lot of times this is all about the right contractors, the right licensing, the right permits. I mean, 8 inches up high tells me it wasn't even the code, right, fellas?
Yeah, I mean, I doubt it was inspected.
It doesn't sound like it was right in
It
the
wasn't
first place.
inspected anyways.
Yeah, well, maybe inspected by the guy that was looking at
It's
it.
a broken bubble level.
So every weekend we talk to you guys every morning and Saturdays at 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. We would like you to join us at the American Tradesman Show. If you need to contact me, it's AC@theamericantrades.com. That's AC@theamericantrades.com. Thank you guys out there. Danny, we want to thank you for the show. I mean, we really it's an exciting time for us, right, Brian? Because it's part of what we really are about. So, again, God bless America and Semper Fi.
Hoorah!